Let's move on. Perfect wildcard team, if using it now. And particularly interested in what Pranel's got to say about this. I'm sure this guy's on your wildcard, and well, I can't believe he's not on everyone's wildcard. Fernandes at Manchester United. Lots are wildcarding this week. Perhaps it may be better to wait. Nevertheless, it's a good week to assess who we should be considering for the long term. There's some questions for the community about wildcarding and players to target. I've sort of divided them up into premiums, heavy hitters, also looking at, and then looking at differentials as well, and then also, finally, goalkeepers. Because I know me and Pranel were talking before about goalkeepers in particular, and I think Andy might be interested as well, because you also have Leno.
I do, yeah.
Let's start with those premiums then. So here's some questions here. I'll just sort of run through them and I'll go to both of you here. So the classic question from Karen14, Salah or Mane? Will they be worth it once Liverpool has won the league? Rishi asks, what is the best Manchester United trio to target if going for all three? And Ben Caraway turns attention to Man City here. Are there any worth going for above KDB? So it's assuming that KDB is a bit essential there. Yes, they are dominant, but rotation and risk of one pointers is huge. And then finally, on these premiums, FPL Yogi asks, is Aubameyang a keep, sell, or hold? Okay, so Pranel, let's go with you first. You're working out your wildcard at the moment. Who are the definite premiums there? Lots that I've mentioned there from those teams?
I mean, let's get the cat out of the bag. I'm not keeping any City players in my wildcard team at the moment for 2 weeks, but that's the way I play. I mean, I like shifting my big hitters. So there's a little bit of a thinking involved there, because actually won't be surprised if we see limited minutes for De Bruyne today, because they played Chelsea on Friday, and then the FA Cup game is like 2 days later, and then they have Liverpool after. So, I mean, there's a big chance of limited minutes for whichever City asset you go for. The only two I'm considering on my wildcard are Edison and Phil Foden. Phil Foden would be like an eighth attacker in my team, because I think he's going to get minutes. So these are the two I'm considering.
Okay.
Out of the big hitters, the question Salah versus Mane, I mean, we've not seen Salah play. We don't know how sharp he is. But I do think he's going to be fit. He was going to come on if it wasn't for that defensive injury to Matip. And when it comes to picking between the two, I mean, it's always going to be a 51-49 call. There's a player you're going to like, go with him. The pro with Mane is that we've seen him play. He looked pretty sharp. Salah is slightly more greedier, and he's going for the Golden Boot, and Milner's injured. So he's definitely on pens. So, I mean, it's always going to be your call when it comes to the premiums. When it comes to the Aubameyang call, I mean, I didn't own him for the double game week, but he is a consideration for me on my wildcard for the next 2 weeks, because I think with eight weeks to go, you have to try searching for as many hauls as you can. And I like his next two. I think Southampton have been pretty tight. It's the Norwich fixture which is attracting me. If I didn't have a wildcard and if I was looking at transferring him out, I probably wouldn't. I think he's a good hold for 2 weeks. He looked more shot friendly than usual against Brighton. I thought he looked pretty sharp, and I like that Saka is supplying to him. So I think he's a good. I think maybe buy is a stretch, but definitely not a sell, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who else do we want to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, talking about those sort of premium options there, we're talking Man United, Man City, Aubameyang. I'm not going to just say all of Arsenal. It's just basically Aubameyang, and also we're obviously looking at that range of Mane, Salah. How do you spread the budget around as well? So no other sort of premiums in the reckoning for you, Chelsea perhaps, or?
I mean, Chelsea. The problem with Chelsea is we don't know who's going to start. I mean, Lampard got on 2 attacking subs at the 55th or 60th minute to change the game. I think that's always going to happen with Chelsea because they've got a wide squad, and Lampard isn't going to be afraid to make those subs. And all the players coming off the bench are young and hungry. So I'll wait for a couple of weeks before investing in Chelsea. And when it even when it comes to the City assets, I'm not going to not go with them for the season. I just think it's a worthwhile punt trying to find a haul this week and the next week, and then get them on in game week 33. I mean, I've spoken to you previously. I'm not afraid to shift those big hitters. I treat them as fourth and fifth midfielders. So yeah, I'm looking at them after 2 weeks when you can figure out who the players to go for are. United, yeah. I mean, I think United and Wolves are your golden ticket teams. They've got good fixtures right through the end. I'm going with a double up. Bruno is in there, and I was thinking about either going in with Rashford or Marshall. I like Pogba as a punt too. I was on Rashford, but I think I might switch to Marshall now because I think you are going to get that extra point for a goal. You're going to get that extra point for a clean sheet. And Rashford didn't look that sharp, I thought Tony had 2 great chances. And I also think there are more options should I want to switch somebody in the midfield. So I'm thinking about that 3-4-3 versus 3-5-2 formation. Right now, there are way more options in midfield, which is why I think going for 3-5-2 is something I'm preferring right now. I mean, it all changes if something spectacular happens later tonight or, something comes to me tomorrow. But yeah, at the moment, I'm going with Tony, Bruno, and then Van Bissaka in defense.
Okay.
Jimenez, I mean, he's as steady as it can get on the wildcard. I like him as an option as well.
And also, I was just going to say, also among the premiums as well, there's the Spurs players as well. They do have, they're not as good fixtures as Manchester United, but they're still good fixtures. And they've certainly got a good fixture against West Ham coming up.
Yeah. For
me, I saw it. Kane, just a no-no. Because he wasn't even presenting eye test underlying stuff. There was nothing FPL related that I wanted. But Son, however, had lots, and he continues to have lots I want. Is he on your wildcard side?
Yeah, he's in my team.
Yeah.
The thing is that there's so many good fixtures this week, and the teams that have a good fixture this week, they pretty much have a decent run right till the end.
Yeah.
So Son's in there as well. That's the reason why I'm deciding to go without Man City for these first 2 weeks, because I do feel we have good teams with lots to play for, having good fixtures in the next 2-3 weeks, where I'm sort of treating this like a Christmas period where I'm trying to pick players that their managers can't drop, that are essential to the team's success. That's kind of what my thinking is when I'm building my wildcard team.
When I wildcarded way back in the mists of time in February, one of the decisions I was faced with was so Fernandes wasn't an option when I wildcarded, but he did the week after. And I went for Son. I went for Son and KDB there, and it would have been it wouldn't have been ideal for me in the structure and flexibility to have Son, Fernandes, and KDB. And I noticed with your wildcard, not going for the City options, but going for Son and Fernandes as well. So it sounds like the same train of thought is still going on, more than 100 days later, of fitting all of them in. And for me, unfortunately for Son, he got injured as soon as I got him in. He did well, then got injured, and then so I suddenly had space for Fernandes. But if he hadn't got injured, I would have been faced with a bit of a decision. It was taken out of my hands. But yeah, it sounds like you're actually brave enough to make that decision because all of them are available and all of them look great assets. Andy, so you're in a similar situation to me. You've already wildcarded, but from some of those premiums that we've mentioned before, particularly some of those Man United ones as well, what are your thoughts about the must-have premiums for the wildcard going forward?
I'm pretty happy with the wildcard discussion. Most of the players people are getting in are already in my team, so I'm quite happy. I think just to kind of go through the question, so Salah or Mane, if I've got Salah, and I agree, I think he probably will start the next game because he was about to come on before I think it was an injury to Matip happened. So it looks like I would have been more assured if he got a few minutes, but I think it's like he will. If I was picking again, though, I'd probably just go Mane simply because he has played already, and more to the point, I don't know what top 10k ownership is, but his overall ownership is lower, and I'm trying to chase rank, and I don't see. I know Salah's on penalties, and Milner's probably going to be injured for a few game weeks now, but I don't know if I would bet on Salah massively outscoring Mane, so I would just take the chance that Mane scores more, and potentially with a lower ownership could could pump me up the rankings a bit more. I don't think there's a lot in it, as we always say. I've got triple Man United, and I've got exactly the ones mentioned, Martial, Fernandes, and my attackers. I think a lot of people said that Martial didn't play that well, but the thing is, he kind of does that a lot. Like, looks like he isn't playing well, and then he'll get a few chances and he'll put them both away. He's cheaper than Rashford. He's playing up front, clean sheets, like Pernille mentioned as well. I don't think Rashford's a bad pick, and I think it'd be really easy to say that a lot of players didn't play well this week. It is the first game back after a long time out, and obviously players like Rashford have got it even worse because they haven't played for a while with injuries. So I don't think Rashford's a bad pick, but I'm pretty happy with Martial. If you wanted to double up on Man United, I think Sheffield United's a great fixture at the moment. And then I've got Maguire at the back, but I don't, a bit like Mane Salah, I don't think there's a huge difference between Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Like, Wan-Bissaka potentially attacking threat, but I don't think he's improved a considerable amount where I would expect too many assists. The good thing about Maguire is he now has Fernandes pumping balls at him from set pieces, which I kind of like. But I wouldn't really argue. I wouldn't like die on a hill to say Maguire's better than Wan-Bissaka. So I am tripping up on Man United. I would at least double up, I think, going forward. So I just think the value's there. Their prices are so good. And the other ones, like Aubameyang, I wouldn't keep Aubameyang on a wild card. I know the next two fixtures are good. I suppose it depends how many hits or transfers you're happy to make to get rid of him. I just don't know about Arsenal. I know they did okay against Brighton, and Norwich is obviously a really good fixture. Potentially, if you've got your free hit left, that might be a good week to use it and get him back in. I don't know. I just think Calvert-Lewin's got Norwich this week. Jimenez is like a must. I think he's almost must own for his price and his fixtures. So I'm struggling to fit Aubameyang in. I would probably keep De Bruyne, I think, because I just think he can do it against anyone. And Chelsea is not a tough fixture for Man City, I don't think. Liverpool's going to be interesting because if Man City don't lose tonight, or if they don't drop points, the title deciding game will be Man City versus Liverpool. So I don't know how I would call that game. I'm assuming it'll be quite tight. So I quite like the move of not owning De Bruyne and getting him back in, but I think I would just have him. Like, he's just been so good this year. It's almost fair probably. So yeah, I think the main ones kind of Pernille mentioned, to be honest. I'd go Mane, triple Man United. I'd be pretty happy with that, I think.
I mean, there's one that we didn't speak about. I think that's again a pretty good option for the longer run. Talking about Jamie Vardy, I thought he looked fairly sharp. I mean, a few misplaced passes and all of that, but he managed to get a couple of good chances. And I quite liked how Leicester played. I mean, everybody was, if you notice, we had very few first half goals. Most of them came in the second half. Everyone's still kind of getting into the rhythm. And I think Leicester have enough quality. I like him as a premium option as well amongst the strikers.
Yeah, no, it's good that you did mention Jamie Vardy. There's also the added incentive of Golden Boot. And I think is he coming up to 50 Premier League goals? Is it only 50? Must be more than that. He's got he's got a landmark coming up. For me, if I was wildcarding, I would go for Mane over Salah, and that was purely because we haven't seen Salah play. That suggests his minutes will be managed in the first game back, and against Crystal Palace, Mane or Salah are very captainable. Plus, I'm a veteran owner of Salah or Mane, and only once have I come a cropper by owning one, really, and not the other. I owned both at that time, but only once have I come a cropper with one of them, and that was when Mane got injured, when everyone triple captained either him or Salah. I obviously triple captained Mane there. But apart from that, I've been a very happy Mane owner whilst watching Salah score, because Mane usually does well, and just pick one. But if you're wildcarding, I would probably go for Mane at the moment. But if you've got Salah, and you're not wildcarding, it's a luxury move to start juggling Salah and Mane around. Just stick with whoever you've got. And as Pranel mentioned, Milner is injured at the moment, which means Salah will be on penalties as well. He's going to play. If he's fit, he's going to play for these matches, because these are prestige matches where they're going to win the league. There was also, I noticed that there were a few changes in the squad for Liverpool against Everton, but Klopp has said that before about the Merseyside derby. I know there's no crowd there, but he wants players to experience the Merseyside. He wants his players to experience the Merseyside derby. He's a real football romantic, jumpers on goalposts and all that kind of stuff. That's what he is all about, and he wants people to experience that, and so that's why he would have put a lot of those types of players in as well. So that's another thing of his. He's done that before in the Merseyside derby. For Fernandes, a must. There we go. Rashford, a maybe. I'm quite happy to have him. I'd like to see more of him. So Wan-Bissaka I quite fancy over Maguire, purely for the attacking returns there. It's just, I don't know about whether they're going to definitely get clean sheets all the time, and I quite like Wan-Bissaka's potential for assists there. But I think 1 or 2 is fine at the moment, but see how they're going, and I think a triple up is fine. I think that Martial is a good bet as well, but just he's a wait and see for me, and I've been burnt lots of times before with Martial. Always seems to get surprise injuries, and with everyone getting injuries at the moment, all teams suffering from it, I don't want a player that has got a history of injuries on my team. Man City, they will score and they will be benched. Whoever you get in, be prepared to see them bench, be prepared to see them haul for you. They are dispensable the next couple of fixtures though, I think. I like their price points though, and so if you are thinking of getting Man City in a bit later, have a think about who you might get it, who is going to fulfill that Aguero price point. How are you going to get KDB back in if you haven't got him already? Things like that. Make sure you've got those price points there so it's easy to move back in for.